Over this entire pandemic, I can definitely say that I've lost a few things along the way. For one, I lost time, especially time from my senior year. I could have had my last prom or a normal graduation. Another thing I lost were simple human interactions. It's kind of weird talking to my friends virtually instead of physically. And, of course, I lost my ability to drive. However, that's not the end of my story. It's hard to find any positives this year, but I truly believe that this pandemic has made me a somewhat better version of me. I've gained knowledge, so much more than I would have anticipated in less than a year. There was a Black Lives Matter movement I learned from. I learned about who I am as a person with an ethnic background. I learned things as simple as new hobbies, like cooking. Something else I've gained was understanding. I realized how there were so many things I took for granted, and that these things were what made life, life. And from this understanding, I gained self-awareness. I still find it crazy to think about how small I am compared to the rest of the world. However, no matter how small I am to this world, this pandemic has made me realize that I can make some sort of impact, whether towards our world, towards someone's life, or towards myself.
Things didn't used to be this way. We used to all be able to be together. That was until COVID-19. 8 million cases in the US and the country was shut down for almost 3 months. End result, I lost my graduation, my senior prom, losing social time, and being glued to the computer, doing online classes, having to spend some of the first semester of college online. But I also gained things from this experience. I gained new friends, and I got to move to a new city and was fortunate enough to still be able to go to school. I got to spend more time with my family. It will never be how it used to be, and the world will continue to change around us, but we have to change with it, seeing the best in things.
2020 was definitely not the easiest year. Things we had worked years for, everything we looked forward to vanished before our eyes. So much more besides graduation and prom were lost. For me, I had lost the All-State Convention after making first chair bassoon in West Tennessee. I lost my senior trip with my mom that we had been planning for years. I lost countless relationships and people over just a few months because of lack of communication and distance. But maybe there's still something to be grateful for. I gained a closer relationship with my family, something that wouldn't have been achieved without the time granted in quarantine. I gained the time to travel the country and see marvels I wouldn't have had the time to see otherwise. Most of all, I gained a clean slate, new friendships, and a new city. I might have lost the world I used to know, but this is my opportunity to design a new one.
Hoda, good morning. From school children to sports stars, the lives of millions of Americans are being severely disrupted by the coronavirus pandemic.
America has been shutting down.
Locked up. Are waking up to a new reality right now.
Oddly quiet.
In 2020, I lost a lot of things. I lost senior prom, the back end of my senior year, and I lost time with my friends. Just like everybody else, months of boredom replaced what should have been the most exciting time of my life. But it wasn't all bad. First off, I actually got to go to college, which wasn't something I thought would happen in April. I got to have a graduation, which I also didn't think was going to happen. And lastly, I ended up gaining time with my friends. Once quarantine was lifted, most of our plans were already canceled, so there was nothing to do but hang out. And we had one last amazing summer before we all went our separate ways in August. So yeah, in 2020, I lost a lot of things, but I gained a lot of things too. So even though 2020 wasn't perfect, it did have its bright sides.